What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. I'm joined today by Justin Davis.
Scoop.
Brian Altano is here. Colin Moriarty.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, it is time, once again, to talk about Game of the Year watch. We are halfway through...
Unbelievably, the year's halfway over.
Halfway through 2014. We're past E3. A few of the year's biggest games are out. Titanfall, Watch Dogs, Mario Kart 8. Time to check in. Let's see. I've got a list of the best reviewed games of the year so far.
Okay.
If you'll allow me.
I'll allow it.
Broken Age, 9.5.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Walking Dead Season 2 episodes are all getting good review, good scores, but we have to wait to see how
Is
that
it a chronological list?
No, I'm not, I haven't listed them all out, but
Got it.
they're like getting in the 9s. Also in Wolf Among Us, several good reviewed episodes, so when those are all said and done, maybe. Child of Light got a 9.3, South Park got a 9, and Transistor, and Dark Souls 2, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Ultra Street Fighter 4, and Mario Kart 8, and Hearthstone, and Nidhogg.
Wow.
All got 9s. Oh, and Shovel Knight. Sorry, that just went up today.
There's nothing to apologize to me about. It'll be all right.
Please accept my deed. Now, just barely not making the 9 cut was Titanfall. 8.9.
8.9.
Yeah. And Watch Dogs was a big high-profile release, very highly anticipated. Got an 8.4. I think I really like, we've talked about this a lot, I really like Watch Dogs. Brian, you really like
Yeah,
Watch
love
Dogs.
it. Love it.
But I think the general sentiment is maybe slight disappointment with that game.
Yeah.
Didn't quite live up to expectations. What do we think? How's this list shaping up?
It's a weird year
Why is that?
because it doesn't feel like there's a ton of like those like AAA blockbuster, like the big action shooting games across multi-platforms with DLC. Like there's stuff like Child of Light and Shovel Knight and South Park, which is like the closest you can get to being a multi-platform AAA game, but it's a game about farting on people, you know? So it's a weird year. It's a year I love because I think that like these are the types of games that speak to me a little bit more.
If we were to vote right now, do you think South Park would have a good chance of winning?
Yeah.
If we were voting
It
today?
would definitely be in there. I would personally narrow it down to 3, which would be Mario Kart, Shovel Knight, and South Park. None of which involve like guns.
Well, that's okay,
which is
right?
weird.
Like, it doesn't have
I think
to
it's
be-
great. Yeah, it's great.
It's definitely been, you're right, that smaller games have shown the
Yep.
first half of this year. They've really had an opportunity to shine. And the AAA stuff like Titanfall is a tremendous amount of fun. So is Watch Dogs. So are games that you didn't even mention, like Infamous. But none of them were really, they didn't light the world on fire. They didn't leave too much of a mark. Like I played them and enjoyed them, but they didn't stick with me in the way that even something like Broken Age did.
Yeah. Broken Age is half a game, right?
So far,
what
yeah.
we've reviewed so far. So.
Yeah.
But that is, like right up there, like one of the best reviewed games.
That was the only one, when you were listing these off, that was the only one that I'd kind of, actually, I just had it stuck with me, but I was kind of like, oh yeah, that game was great. It just came so early in January that that was a fantastic point-and-click adventure.
Yeah.
When is the second half supposed to arrive? Do we even know? Is it going to be this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I say that definitively. I mean, I hope so. If not, that's bad news for...
I feel like what happened with the Walking Dead won't happen again. And even if this season is amazing and it's the thing we've ever played, I think that sort of episodic thing, we fell in love with it the year they did it, and then they're doing it again. And I just sort of anecdotally, I feel like people are a little more scattered about that franchise now. Like we're less attached to.
Nobody's talking about it the same way.
Right. We used to. We would finish episodes and we'd come in and we'd talk about it the way we talk about Breaking Bad or something like that. And from what I'm reading, I'm not caught up yet. I'm only 2 episodes in. It's awesome. But it just doesn't feel like it has the same impact as it did the first time around with the first season.
I think they need to come out more often.
Yeah.
I think they're way too long in between episodes, and they're not on like a set schedule, right? Like,
that's the big
problem.
problem.
If it's a TV, like Breaking Bad, we know, every Monday morning we're going to come in and talk about it.
Yeah,
So it's like, this is like, well, whenever the new episode is out, I'll get to it.
We also, I mean, I can't speak for other folks, but I played Wolf Among Us Episode 1, loved it, and then the gap between 1 and 2, I decided I'm going to wait.
Yeah,
and I haven't played Walking Dead, I'm going to wait till it's all out.
Yeah.
Walking Dead.
And then be sad.
Yeah, you'll be very sad. From what I played so far, it's very depressing.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Walking Dead, fun fact, Square Enix is publishing it in Japan.
That is weird. Wow.
They publish random Western games in Japan, like they publish Call of Duty over there. So.
The reverse used to happen. Didn't EA and Square Enix used to have a publishing agreement in the United States, I think, during like the PS1 era, maybe.
Is that true? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. Colin, what do you think about all this? Do you think is Shovel Knight your favorite game of the year so far?
Yeah, I think my glasses are like all. No, I'm not feeling them right now.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think Shovel Knight's the best game of the year in my opinion, based on pure gameplay. I think this is an exciting year because I think Game of the Year at the end of everything is going to be really exciting. Like Altano was saying, there's not many AAA games, and frankly, there are just not that many coming up in the next 6 months. So this is going to be a very unusual Game of the Year vote when we kind of sit down and do this in December, in the sense that you're going to have games like Child of Light in there, no doubt, which is not an independent game, but an independent style game. Sure. You're going to have games like Shovel Knight, which is a pure indie game. I think is going to be in the mix. You're going to have Hearthstone, which is kind of a free to play game. You're gonna have like a lot of different kinds of stuff in there, and so. I think it's kind of exciting. My personal top 5, I tweeted about it yesterday. I sat and thought about it. In order would be, so far this year, would be Shovel Knight, South Park, Child of Light, and then Danganronpa on Vita, and then Infamous. I think would probably be my top 5. But there's a lot of like weird games out there that like I've been playing Pixel Junk Shooter Ultimate on PS4 and Vita. That game's really good. Just a lot of cool little smaller games that I've been having a lot of fun with.
Sure.
But Shovel Knight, man, that's the game.
Yeah, Shovel Knight's great. I'm really glad we brought back Game of the Month at IGN.
Yeah.
We brought it back to reward games, right? Like, well, let's talk about stuff that's awesome more than just when the review comes out. But we also talked about it just for IGN process, so we don't lose track of games like Broken Age went in the Game of the Year hunt. And that really makes sure, like, hey, Game of the Month is coming up. Everyone needs to make sure they're playing Shovel Knight. And we did it last month with Child of Light. And a couple of years ago, games like Hotline Miami were nominated for IGN Game of the Year, and that surprised a lot of people. And now I think that I just think the process has worked. Like, we're exposing a lot more editors to a lot more indie games and make sure that they're buttoned up on what's what when Game of the Month voting comes around. And it lets stuff like that really shine through.
Is it weird that there's so many indie games on this list? I mean, there just aren't that many AAA releases coming this year.
It's the first full year of a console generation, and the entire middle shelf has fallen out over the last few years. So what's really left? I mean, this fall we're going to get a Call of Duty. That won't win Game of the Year. Sorry. Like, I mean, no, really. Like, I can't remember the last time that's happened. Like,
but Kevin Spacey, though.
Yeah, right. And most people won't see him because he's tucked away in the single player. And maybe,
Modern Warfare was the last game I think that people talked about in a critical way.
As like this has a chance. But I think even if you have a chance, you're not going to win. Like with a game like that, because it's predominantly a multiplayer shooter. We just got an awesome one of those. Titanfall. No one's talking about it anymore. We're not.
Alfredo.
Like this is Titanfall in anyone's running in this room? For Game of the Year right now?
Yeah, I mean, not for us, but it may or may not be in the IGN hunt, but it wasn't my thing.
I think that I think the indie game thing is a sign of the times. We've often said on this show and on other shows and in other ways, like it or not, indie games and small games are going to be taking over the industry. And these small games,
who would not like it?
And like
a lot of the IGN readers.
Yeah, the stigma against indie games, like you have to spend $60 on a game. Like why? Like
goodness.
It doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. No. So this is a sign of the times. This is going to happen. It's going to happen more and more. And a lot of these games are going to blow up. Just like frankly, Shovel Knight's blowing up, and that's going to be a big game for a lot of people. And that's just the kind of the way of the world. Like last year, I often said Resogun, which was free when PS4 came out, is arguably still that console's best game. That's not a bad thing. That's an okay thing. That's a good thing. And it doesn't matter how much it doesn't matter platform, cost, developer. Is it fun? That's what matters.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
I think it would be healthy for right now. Indies still are sort of stuck in this $10 or $15 range, and I would love to see sort of I don't know what the label would be. Premium indies, like let's make $30 a viable price point. Like release on PSN and Xbox Live for $30, and you're getting something that's in between, a $10 tiny experience and a $60, gigantic experience.
See, the problem I don't think is price in that measure. I think it's art style dictates price to a lot of readers.
Yeah, 2D is seen as like cheap.
Right. Yeah, I remember. I mean, I was a big person fighting for the return of the Rayman franchise, Origins and Legends, and talking about those games all the time and really championing them. People said to me all the time, it looks really cool, but this game shouldn't be $50. It should be $5.
Yeah, there's a weird perception issue against 2D versus 3D and what the value, like what people's value is for that. They don't see $60 games as worth.
I'm sure a lot of people are scoffing at our Shovel Knight review right now and the coverage we've done. And Colin's been the champion of it. I've been going from show to show saying I love Shovel Knight. It's great. And people look at it and they're like, yeah, but it looks like, a game that your grandfather played,
And my grandpa did not play it. these games.
I wanted to announce I'm a grandfather now.
Shovel Knight's a lot more whimsical than I expected, by the way. I finally got a chance to sort of dig into it, like with the dancing fish.
Oh, yeah.
And some of that stuff and the villagers that you talk to. That part was very unexpected to me. It was a surprise.
Yep. So I don't know. I like that we're there now, though. That we have this full circle again, where games can look like this, and you don't automatically win the race just because you have the best graphics or because you have online multiplayer or because there was 15 teams working on your game. Like we're gonna get a new Assassin's Creed this year.
So I was gonna say is they're not mutually exclusive. Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty and Titanfall still exist in the world where Shovel Knight exists.
Yeah.
They all make money and win awards, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I like that we have that it went into multiple paths and not just one way. So
Actually, I have a Shovel Knight question here. This comes from T-Boy, who emailed us just like you can at gamescoop@ign.com. This question is for Colin. I'm just wondering what platform Colin reviewed Shovel Knight on and which one he suggests to purchase it on. I really enjoyed his review of the game, but I'm torn between getting it on Wii U or 3DS.
I think it's best on, I played it on Wii U primarily, and I think it's best there. I think it fits there. I shouldn't say it's best there. People are going to find that they like it on other platforms, and that's great. But I think take the Wii U, download it, take your old Wii remote, like we were just saying on Nintendo Voice Chat, just turn it sideways, play it like an NES game. I think it's a great way to play the game.
I think everyone always talks about it as a Wii U game. It's also on Steam, by the way. But I'm playing it on 3DS, and I think it's perfect on that platform. It's super easy to pop it open and not even get through a whole stage, but get through a couple checkpoints and then close it because my baby's crying or whatever. Like. It feels like that bite-sized handheld game to me personally.
Yeah.
If you do get it on 3DS, you can't go wrong there. There's no reason not to.
You're playing it on Wii U?
Yeah. But I'm going to buy it on 3DS so I can play it on flights and stuff like that. So
I'm also playing it on 3DS. You probably just can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Whatever platform you're playing it on.
It's a little bit like I played hours and hours and hours of Hearthstone on PC, and now I play that exclusively on iPad. I feel like it makes so much sense for touch controls.
Yeah, I prefer to stick on PC with Hearthstone, but I have an older iPad. So.
Yeah. See, it won't run well on an iPad too. That's probably my game of the year so far.
Well, I agree, but we'll get to that. We're still on Shovel Knight right now. T-Boy continues. In Colin's review, he mentions that the game is influenced by some old NES classics, but I noticed that some of the game's sounds appear to be lifted directly from such games, such as DuckTales and Mega Man. Is this the case, or am I imagining this?
Yeah, I don't think it's lifted, but I think there's some mimicry going on. There's a specific sound that really jumped out to me, that not one he mentioned, where you use one of the sub-weapons, which is like an invincibility move or whatever, and the sound is the same sound that when you pick up the golden chalice in Castlevania, the one that makes you invincible. It's the same thing. Like, there's a lot of that kind of stuff in the game. I think a lot of odes, but one of the beautiful things of the game is it's its own game. It's not mimicking things. It's taking inspiration from them.
Yeah.
So
I would be surprised if it was actually lifted directly.
Yeah.
But if you're using this sort of like this NES sound chip, it has a limited spectrum of sounds that it can make. Right. So you're probably going to sound like some other NES game.
It's like if I hand you like 3 ingredients, like there's really only so much you can cook with them.
That's that's a good analogy.
Well, you also, they're not making Castlevania 3 on the NES anymore. So it's like, as if that sort of thing doesn't exist in that purest form anymore, like, I don't know, so what?
If it's borrowing from other stuff.
I think so.
I think that's fine. A game that came out that I thought was pretty anticipated, but now another one that no one's talking about is Transistor.
Named after the 311 album.
Yep, it's actually the 311, the video game.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's another game that people did enjoy a lot, but maybe didn't stick with people in the way that I think Shovel Knight and at least for me, Broken Age did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't finish it. It hit like right before we really dug in deep with all the E3 stuff, and I think I was playing a little bit of Watch Dogs at the time too. Beautiful game, incredible music, awesome art style. I think the gameplay didn't immediately grab me like some of the other titles did. The sort of isometric battling stuff that is sort of turn-based,
That's
but
what I like about it,
it's cool. It's just I have to really dig into it. I haven't had as much time as I wanted to do that.
It is really gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, and just other games kind of grab me, but yeah, it's a beautiful game. It's awesome. It's something I want to return to. Maybe it'll flip my whole list. Who knows?
I enjoyed it when I played it, but I just got distracted with Watch Dogs, I think, and Mario Kart 8. So I'll have to come back to that. Maybe a lot of these games people will have to come back to, and finish them.
We always talk about this at the end of the year, but there's like a big difference between like the game of the year and the game you had the most fun with that year and the game you played the most. There's like this whole, and it's.
This is what I
didn't want to open this can of worms.
No, but this is what I think about Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Hearthstone is easily my favorite game of the year.
Yeah.
Favorite game in probably several years. Easily the game I'm going to spend the most time with this year.
Right.
But I don't know, like, will it be the best game of the year?
It's a
like,
philosophical question of, is your favorite game the game that you would most recommend to others?
Yeah.
And which should game of the year be?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think Hearthstone is Colin's type of game, right? Like, I don't.
No, I mean, it's customizable card games sometimes, but no, I wouldn't mess with that game too much.
Yeah.
To me, there's the I probably even said this last year, but there's the pizza joint down the street, and then there's like the French Laundry, which is like you go to have this.
That's a restaurant here.
Look it up. It's one of the best restaurants in America or the world, and it's just like you have this incredible, memorable experience that can't be replicated by anything else. But then there's your comfort food that's like it's always there and you love it. You know, for me, it was like for years I was playing Simpsons Tapped Out, like the way you guys play Hearthstone, and it was just like I pick it up 10, 15 minutes a day, put it down. Is that my game of the year? Never. Is it my game of any year? Absolutely not. Not a million years would that be my game of the year. But I like that it's always there, and it deserves recognition in some way.
Yeah.
That's how I am about Disco Zoo.
All right.
Game of the year.
It's my game of the moment right now that there's moon animals to collect.
A game, that no one talks about is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Yeah. I personally didn't really like that game.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Nintendo guy, huge 2D platforming guy. I love retro. I love what they do. I actually really, really like the Donkey Kong game that they did right before this. This one kind of turned me off. It felt like it just didn't really connect with me.
Music's really good.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like we've talked about this before. Like, we obviously do our best to get our reviews right every single time we ever review a product, but sometimes opinion of a game climbs. You know, you have time passes and you say, man, that game is better than we thought it was, like now that we've had time to reflect. And then sometimes the opposite happens. And in the case of Donkey Kong, I think the general consensus is, hey, look, this isn't like a dog of a game. But maybe it's not quite as good as it seemed to be, when we first sort of got our hands on it.
Well, no, actually, I totally disagree with that. I don't think this was a matter of time changing our perception.
We gave it a 9.
We gave it a 9, and the person who reviewed it thought it was a 9. And a lot of people do, and he's not here to defend himself for that. But a lot of people really love this game, but as a fan of Nintendo platformers, it didn't do it with me. Didn't do it for me. I didn't like I thought the bosses were horrific. I thought some of the checkpoints were really bad, and I thought like overall it was just a little samey, which is weird because I love Mario games and they come out every year.
But Mario really does mix it up, at least.
I think so. Yeah.
For what it's worth, by the way, I only played that game for half an hour. I thought it felt really stiff.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like it. I was just like, I don't want to play anymore.
You're particular about your platforming.
I am. I'm very particular, yes.
I felt the same.
And then there's Nidhogg, which we for like 5 minutes, everyone was really excited about that game.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Game of the month for January, I think, right?
Yeah, Marty is working on a feature about local multiplayer and how it is coming back, and it's awesome. Like, that game is awesome at what it is. It's this very focused, tiny experience, not for everybody, but if you have a group of people in a room, it is incredible and a tremendous amount of fun.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Yep. Yeah, it was great. And watching this video makes me we should get it plugged back in and hooked up again.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
this is like Towerfall and stuff. Like
this game benefited. I mean, I'm sure that this game didn't do as well on smaller sites that didn't have 25 people in the office playing them at all times.
Sure.
And if you don't have that many people in your house at any given moment, then this you might not play the game the same way. But we had a blast playing it here. And I think that was part of it, was the kind of the culture around it and us screaming at each other playing it. So
I mean, I haven't worked at IGN as long as all three of you, actually, but I've been here 3 years, and that's the game that I've seen us play the most as a group and compete against each other in the time that I've been here.
Yeah. Well, it was a very short love affair with Nidhogg.
Brief, but it was intense.
Yeah, like Smash Brothers has a permanent home in the corner of IGN.
Yeah.
Like Smash Brothers for GameCube gets turned on every few days. Nidhogg was nonstop for like a week or two straight, and then it vanished. So we'll see if it comes back when it gets ported.
What were you going to say?
I was just saying we haven't had a game that captured the essence for a long period of time since Rock Band. I think you would have. We were around.
That was like,
that was a phenomenon.
For like a year or two, we played that game.
Like
all the time.
after work, like all the time. We haven't had a game like that in a long time.
Like after we would go out to the bars, we'd go back to Nate's place and play Rock Band. But look at this list. If I were to say realistically, the 3 games on here that, like, if we were going to vote today, the 3 games that stand out to me are South Park, Dark Souls 2, and Mario Kart 8. That seem reasonable.
It's a fair list,
Just from this list, yeah.
Sure.
That seemed to be
Yeah.
maybe like
Diverse.
in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart 8 was phenomenal.
Very
Like
good.
I mean, they just really got, aside from battle mode, they got everything right in that game. It's beautiful, it's fun, it's accessible, it's innovative without like breaking too many things, which I think some of the Mario Kart games had a problem with in the past. Specifically, Mario Kart Wii was just like the motion controls and jumping and stuff like that.
my
The
goodness.
online was fundamentally flawed, and they were incapable of patching it.
Thanks, GameSpy.
Yeah. And they just nailed it this time. It's beautiful. It's way better looking than it really has any right to. Some of the little details, like we've talked about this before, but just watching it is such a joy, and playing it is so much fun. It's like one of the last times where I've gotten back to that kind of college days of 4 people around a TV screaming at each other, drinking beers and stuff like that. And it's great, but it is Mario Kart. It's the best Mario Kart, but it's more Mario Kart. So if
Battle
we're
mode-
rewarding just on like innovation or like the newest new award, then who
Yeah, maybe
knows?
not that, yeah.
Battle mode hurts my heart. It makes me so sad.
Yeah, it's
I
a
haven't even taken a look at the new version of Battle Mode.
it's a big oversight that it wasn't, because the everything else was there. The core was there. Everything that you needed to do to make a good multiplayer game was.
It's
there.
also, I agree with everything you're saying about Mario Kart, and I agree with you that it's probably going to be on the Game of the Year shortlist 6 months from now. But saying it's the best Mario Kart besides Battle Mode is like saying, oh, I met this girl, and she's wonderful, she's great, but she's got this some terrible
leg.
Yeah.
like, oh. It's not that big a deal, but she just steals things whenever she's out in public.
Klepto.
Right, and there's a lot of people that are cool with that. I'm not.
worth it.
I'm not. I don't want to date a klepto. Some people are like, look, stealing's okay. I haven't cared about stealing since the Super Nintendo. We're just going to keep running this, but I do have a problem with it. I think that battle mode's a huge oversight. Like there was a chance to make that the best ever, and they totally dropped the ball and made it the worst ever. So that sucks.
Yeah.
Personal favorite, Hearthstone, Shovel Knight of the year so far.
Personal is Hearthstone. Hearthstone and NES Remix 1 and 2.
Yeah.
1 was last year, but I consider them the same.
Yeah, they're kind of the same game. How about you?
It's a tie between South Park and Shovel Knight right now. Very, very close tie, with Shovel Knight in a slight lead.
Oh, above South Park. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've yet to finish South Park. I still need to do that. Before we look ahead at the year to go, have you guys kept up on your movies and your TV shows? Can you say what your favorite movie of the year is?
Sorry,
your favorite TV show?
I want to give a shout out to Elder Scrolls Online. I feel bad about it. I think it's the best MMO that's come out in years. I am convinced that that's a game 12 months from now. You'll see message board topics and Reddit threads of people saying, "Man, that game! I'm glad I finally gave it a shot. I'm having so much fun
After it
with
goes
this."
free to play.
I mean, maybe whatever it takes to get people in the door. But I'm sure it's going to be some game that people said, "I'm sorry, I slept on this," because that game is super good, and I would be playing it if I didn't have a child. Sorry, I wanted to remember to give it a shout out in Game of the Year. It's never going to be an IGN's Game of the Year hunt, but it is a fantastic MMO in my opinion.
Coming to consoles still.
Yeah.
Current gen consoles. Right?
Yep.
Movies. How do you feel about movies? What's the best movie you've seen in theaters this year?
I don't think I've seen a movie in the theater.
Have you not been to the theaters this
No.
year? I know you're not big.
No, I don't.
I think
go
I've
to
seen
the
3 movies in theaters this year.
Mine was Grand Budapest Hotel.
That was good. I liked.
That's probably my favorite movie I saw in theaters this year too.
I think I like Moonrise Kingdom better.
Yeah.
These could very well be fake movies. That you
You
guys,
just made. You wouldn't know.
I liked, Rabbit Hopper in the Grass. That's basically what you're.
That's the latest Miyazaki.
What's the newest anti-Ralph Nader documentary you watched on Netflix at 2:00 in the morning? No, I don't see a lot of movies in theaters anymore because there's
T. Ralph Nader. I don't think he's relevant anymore. Really.
That's a really weird
Ralph
reference.
Nader's really relevant.
He's got to be.
I think was the Lego movie this year.
Yeah.
So I saw that. I saw Godzilla and I saw Grand Budapest Hotel. Those are the 3 movies I saw
That's
in
it.
theaters.
Everything else. Saw X-Men, I thought.
No, I never saw X-Men.
Oh, I thought you did.
No,
Lego
I
was
was asking
great,
you
too.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lego was okay.
Oh man, I loved it.
I still haven't seen Lego. I need to see that. I hear good things.
I thought Wreck-It Ralph was way better.
I haven't seen that one either.
Oh, man.
No, the best movie I saw in theaters this year is The Raid 2.
Yeah.
It's so good.
That I have heard of.
One of the best action movies. Maybe the most violent movie I've ever seen.
Nice.
It's really good.
That's good. I should watch that.
Here it is. Look at that. As if on cue.
It's amazing. You just say things and they disappear.
They just showed my girlfriend and I's Halloween costume this year, by the way. It's going to be really good.
Is it on video yet?
Well, you got that locked down early.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is kind of serious business, your
Yes.
Halloween costume. You gotta get this ready. The best TV show of this year is Game of Thrones.
No, it's Fargo.
So I actually haven't seen Fargo yet.
It's absolutely Fargo. It was True Detective this year?
Yeah.
Did that finish up this year?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I think True Detective was front heavy. I thought the first half of it was more satisfying than the last half.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I thought there were some shots in the final episode that were some of the most incredible, haunting, disturbing things I've ever seen in a television show.
Yeah.
All in all, Fargo, I think, which was a 10-episode show as opposed to the 6 that was True Detective, was just a beautifully shot, incredible characters, just well-scripted run of a TV show. And it's over now. It's done. Like, you can go. There won't be a season 2 in the traditional sense. Yeah, they'll do the thing where they might return to the town and pick up a new story with new characters and stuff like that. But this arc is complete.
It had Key and Peele in it.
It did, yeah, which was odd.
That's on my watch list. I gotta get to that.
I do not watch TV.
Well, you want to talk about Doctor Who? Start another
That's
show.
true.
Doctor Who scoop.
Do you like the Doctor Who a lot?
Did you guys watch Downton Abbey?
We did. We
So
gave up on it when
it's
the
kinda-
shenanigans happened.
So I wanted to start watching that show, and there's no way you'll be able to find this, but I think it's on Amazon. When you log into Amazon now on like your PS4, the cover image of Downton Abbey is just this 900-year-old woman, and she's just like, what? And I'm like, nope, I'm not watching
It's
that.
probably the Dowager or whatever her name is.
Sure.
The Dowager
girl
Countess.
It's just a bad
Harry Potter?
It's a bad first impression. So I'm like, maybe
That show is extraordinary.
She's feisty.
Are you all caught up with that one?
Yeah, I'm caught up with Down. Yeah, that show is extraordinary. I would say that show that aired this year in the United States. That's technically last year because it came out
aired
in
on
the
the
UK.
BBC last year.
I would say True Detective probably for me.
True Detective.
And all this weird shit I watch on like HGTV is pretty addicting too.
Yeah.
Brother versus brother.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, that was Brother versus Brother. Was that the one that they canceled? No, that's the. What was the one? They canceled one of these shows before it even aired, right?
There was that show. There was a show
There
this
was
year.
like some religious controversy or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
It was a pretty big story.
That I don't know.
There was a show this year about a dude with like a 3,000-pound testicle.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see some of this weird stuff.
You're flipping through the channels and
Okay.
it's just saying, it's like, me and my
Not
big ball.
3,000 pounds.
It was
It was probably literally hundreds of pounds.
and we stopped on. I was eating food and I stopped on it out of curiosity. I'm like, oh, get that out of here!
Is that a series? It's a series?
It's like
So wait,
series.
what blows my mind about that is 10 minutes of television stretched into an entire...
right, like season
How is
4,
my big
episode
ball
6. Still
gonna-
got my ball.
How am I going to go grocery shopping? I don't know.
There was a thing where a guy had a growth that looked like a huge testicle that he would like place on like a rolling chair and like or something like, or like some sort of stool and walk around with it or whatever. There's some weird stuff. You go up to like TLC and Discovery, you're gonna find some weird
the
stuff.
Learning Channel.
I'll give a quick shout out to
learn something.
I'll give a quick shout out also to Bar Rescue, which is an amazing
Bar
show.
Rescue.
An amazing show.
Is that like a show they're going to go out of business? The bar's going to go out of business?
Yeah, it's like
Until
it's on
this
Spike TV.
maniacal cokehead shows up.
It's like Kitchen Nightmare, but with bars.
It's so good, dude. You gotta find Bar Rescue. That show's becoming like iconic, like with how crazy that guy is, and it's so funny. Like he's just so brash, and
Yeah,
but he works it when at the end, he fixes it. But
He rescues
Yeah,
the bar.
I don't want to actually watch this show, but the show I Want to Marry Harry, or Who Wants
They
to Marry Harry?
canceled it already,
They
I heard.
already
Really?
canceled it? I just wanted to like watch the synopsis
It's
of
so-
like what went down. Do you know about this?
No, I don't even know about the show.
Yeah, what?
A Prince Harry like lookalike, like impersonator.
Oh, my goodness.
And then
Just
they
like-
told all these women, like, you're going to go on this show for a chance to marry Prince Harry.
well, the
And
thing
then
they get away with it by saying they never say that. Like apparently, what they say is like it's the Prince of Wales
Okay.
or whatever. Like they'll never
Yeah.
use his real name until like these hot chicks like think that who knows if they like really thought that or not because he kind of looks a little off like compared to the real Prince Harry or whatever. But apparently, my girlfriend was because we were really excited about it. I'm like, this is brilliant.
I wanted
this
this,
reminds me
like-
of Joe. You remember the show Joe Millionaire?
Yeah,
it was
of
on
course.
like
Yeah,
12,
like that,
13
yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
About like the construction worker, but they pretended he was a millionaire. Then
Yeah.
they told and like it reminded me of that. Where I'm like, this is brilliant.
Well, people, I think
Dumbest shit.
people were stupid back then, but they were, I think, a little smarter than now. Now you don't even have to lie.
Use a Google search and you would know that this is not a real show.
Dude,
that
so
you're on.
people are dumb.
You live in San Francisco. We have an area in this city called Fisherman's Wharf where there is a Madame Tussauds wax museum. And about a year or two ago, they got a Barack Obama wax model delivered to this museum, and they put him on one of those like things, and they just wheeled him out in the street, and he was just like. And everyone was like, "Oh, hello, Mr. Obama." Like they thought that he hurt his leg and he was just leaning back and he's just like that. And everyone's waving, saying hello, trying to get pictures with him and stuff like that. People are stupid as hell.
They are. No, it's like you say, people, they can just Google it and find out it's not him. Whenever we have a live show, Greg and I were like, we're live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, and then all the responses are, what time is that in London?
Yeah.
Like, they could Google that right now and find out. Instead, they ask us over Twitter, thinking, like, who knows when we'll see it? Who knows if we'll respond?
You're live right there. You're like, hold on, I have to interject with a clock question from the audience.
Anyway, that's it for TV Scoop. This week. How much time? Colin's on a time limit here, but you got about 12 minutes.
12 minutes? Okay. Yeah, sorry. We don't have. I can leave and you guys can continue the conversation.
No, I want you to stay right there.
Okay, well, thank you.
Because for the next 12 minutes, we're going to look ahead. Our most anticipated games for the rest of 2014. Who would like to start?
I would.
Justin.
My most anticipated game of 2014, hands down, is Destiny.
Destiny.
Oh my goodness
After
gracious.
playing the alpha?
Yeah. That alpha, I have never...
sold a lot of people on that game.
Yeah, I have never done a bigger 180 on a game before. Not that I thought it was going to be, hot garbage before, but, if you look at my tweets around E3 2 years ago and stuff like that, I just never thought the game, I thought it looked kind of old, I thought it looked kind of slow, and I didn't feel like it looked that next gen, and I'm very happy to say that I was super wrong. Actually going hands-on with it, I get it in a way that, that I didn't really understand from the demos. That game is World of Warcraft mashed up with Halo, mashed up with Borderlands, and all those things fit together like chocolate and peanut butter.
Anyone else play the alpha?
No.
No, I just can't get into these games where I have to play with them.
You're not interested in... but now, did you play Borderlands?
I play Borderlands a little bit, and I keep kicking people out of my room or my game until I realize I can just shut that off.
Yeah.
I will give it to them on this. First of all, I watched Greg play Destiny. It looks great. And I'll give it to them in that this was a stroke of marketing genius because no one was talking about Destiny. And I think that they were already running commercials for it a long time ago.
The alpha?
Yes.
Yeah, the alpha is a stroke of genius. Be like, no, really, our game's good and we're confident we want you to play it. I think that was better than any commercial they can do, any preview anyone can write.
Sure.
And now the beta starts for PlayStation Plus, I think, soonish. I don't know.
Middle of July.
So, good for them because I think they have some. It's a studio with a great pedigree. No one thought, like Justin said, that game was going to be bad. It's just not a game that intrigued me at all.
They were dumping millions into awareness and it wasn't working. And then they were just like, oh, just play it. And then we were like, oh wow, got it, cool.
Yeah,
and then the word of mouth started. So
it could also. Here's the caveat. It could be that's the first video game I got to play in 3 weeks. I finally was able to escape and put the baby down for a nap.
Had the baby, yeah.
And I'm like, well, video games again, so fun. No, but you actually go on, it's the equivalent of dungeons. They call them strikes. And it's 3 people, and you go there, if you're kind of bad or shitty, it'll take 30 or 40 minutes. They're meant to be, closer to 20 minutes. And there's bosses, and it's 3 people, and you have to work together to take down these bosses and coordinate. You can't do them on your own. And it feels like a modern FPS version of a World of Warcraft dungeon that you would go on, a 5-man dungeon with friends.
Now... Can you play Destiny by yourself?
You won't be able to do the strikes. I mean, there's a story. So the game has a story mode, and all that stuff is single player. The way that it works, and this is the challenge that Activision and Bungie have, is this is a game that's hard to explain. But you'll be in this world, and other people can be in the world. They'll sort of, Journey, they'll fade in and out of your game. You'll come together with people and do stuff. But then it'll be there'll be a point on the map that starts the next story mission, and when you go through that door, then you're in an instance of the game world on your own. You're in your own little version, people can't mess with you or interact with you. And then when you walk out of the other end of that story mission, then you're back in the world, and it's all super seamless. That's the same way the dungeons work, is the 3 of you are in the world with other people, then you go in this dungeon, and it's just you and your own little version of the world, and then when it's over, you're back out in public.
So, I'm seeing 3 parts of this game.
Yeah.
Single-player missions that you go on by yourself. Strikes, you go on out with people cooperatively. But then there's also PvP arenas.
Yeah, I mean, there's traditional... The PvP arena, quote-unquote, is just traditional... it's like Halo multiplayer. The only thing that was in the alpha was, capture the control points, A, B, and C. And then whoever had the most control points won. But it's going to have traditional Call of Duty, Halo-style multiplayer. It feels a lot like Halo with vehicles and stuff.
Yeah, speaking of that, we actually have a question from Buddy.
What's up, buddy?
hey, buddy.
He says, I'm a working dad /husband/gamer with very little time to play. I value your articles, podcasts, and reviews in helping me get the most bang for my gaming buck.
Thanks, buddy.
That said, I need a little more help when it comes to Destiny.
Yeah.
There was some footage, you guys discussed it, looked like something I might have to pass on. Lately, though, it seems that everyone has major wood for this game, and I'm a little confused. The game looks a lot like Halo to me. It's a shooter made by the creators of Halo. The bad guys often come in groups, a few bullet fodder led by a more powerful character.
Yep.
It sounds like Halo. You guys have pointed out how some of the guns sound the same as Halo guns. The soundtrack almost sounds lifted from the Halo B-side.
Yep.
Anyway, I get that there are new wrinkles to the Halo formula with the MMO and RPG elements, but I wonder how different this will be from Halo. I know you don't have the full answer today, but could you focus on those deltas now and in the future coverage of Destiny? Anyway, what's your impression there?
Yeah, I mean, the moment-to-moment gunplay does feel a lot like Halo, and even in the game's lore, it's like there's the humans, and then there's two factions that also kind of compete with each other, same as Halo. Like it's obviously a Bungie game, but you can't discount that MMO part of it, and that open world part of it. Like it plops you into this world, and you can explore in any direction. And you'll find things, and you'll find missions, and you'll find secrets. And I went into a cave and found some crazy high-level dude that I couldn't kill and had to run away and would have had to come back when I leveled up. You get loot drops when you kill bosses, and then that makes you like quite a bit more powerful than you were before if you get the right gun. It makes it feel really different. It feels like a World of Warcraft Halo love child. It's awesome.
Still not sold.
Nope.
No. I don't know. Maybe I have to play it. I'm just not there yet. It feels like every time people try to explain this game to me, it just keeps going and going and going, but none of it is just like, there it is, great, you're in, got it.
So you'll play the beta, or you'll play it eventually, and then
of course.
And you can make up your own mind.
Yeah, no, completely. But we were talking about this at E3 about how the difficulty companies have nowadays of like, or pretty much anyone has nowadays, of grabbing anyone's attention for anything. It's a miracle that people are even here with us today watching the show. This is great content, so thank you. But to bounce from this to watch another video, to play another game, there's so many options, so many things to distract you right now. When I was asking, what is Titanfall? People were like, it's, Call of Duty with robots. And I'm hearing Destiny is Halo plus Borderlands plus Warcraft plus, and like it starts to lose me.
So there is no fourth plus. It's just those three pluses.
Okay. Well, you said peanut butter and chocolate. I was wondering what the third ingredient was.
Oh, jelly. I don't know. What would go good with those? Marshmallow, maybe?
Maybe like some, I don't know, some sort of grain.
Like a nut?
A nut? Like aside from peanut butter? You want a second nut?
Like peanut butter and peanut, maybe.
Chunky.
Top of my head.
Peanuts. That's not really a third ingredient. That's cheating.
Maybe Nutella. What about that?
That's chocolate.
No, that's hazelnut.
Wait, hold on. Nutella is hazelnut and chocolate. It's cocoa. So it's
hazelnut
the first
flavored chocolate.
It's nut and cocoa. So your third ingredient is the first two ingredients.
Right.
Come on, that's cheating.
Wait. Let me.
Come on, that's so cheating.
Let me walk this back.
Just
a little.
say bread. Just
it's
say
hazelnuts, chocolate, peanut butter. How about
hazelnuts, chocolate, peanut butter. That's a stretch. Cocoa, it goes into chocolate. Cocoa goes in a hazelnut.
All right.
Anyway.
All right.
Hazelnut, chocolate, peanut butter.
Brian, what are you anticipating? Not Destiny.
Far Cry right now.
Yeah,
because Far Cry is ridiculous. I'm going to need it at the end of this year to play something that sort of, I don't want to say mindless, but just sort of like deranged. Like something I can just kind of I can get lost in this world. I can do insane things. Once I saw, I was like, okay, it's more Far Cry. That's cool. Then I saw the exploding elephants, and I'm like, this is going to be the ultimate palate cleanser for 2014. And I have a feeling it's going to it'll be one of those things where we see it kind of like the first or Far Cry 3, where it was like it just slipped in at the end of the year, like December.
Punching
10th.
sharks. And it was like right before we went on Christmas break.
Yeah, right at the end, and it was like I love to really Christmas break. I'll pack my PS4 into my bag. I'll go visit my family across the country for the weekend, and when I get sick of that, inevitably after about 45 minutes, I'll blow up elephants.
Yep.
It feels like a Christmas break game, and maybe that's just because that's when Far Cry 3 came out. Like if that's going to be this franchise's thing, but I totally agree.
Yeah, I really like the. I think the setting is awesome. I've never played a game that takes place in the Himalayas,
except for Uncharted 2
or DuckTales. DuckTales. Yeah. So
what we're seeing here. We're taking over this outpost.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I love to do in video games today. It's what I love about Watch Dogs.
Yeah,
going out in the gang hideouts. Like, this is exactly, infiltrate.
Yep.
Take everybody out, figure out your own path.
And I love that because you die a bunch of times, you go back in, you try different ways. I'm doing that with Watch Dogs. Look at this!
Yeah, it's so fun.
How can this not be at the top of your list?
Please,
so much fun.
DLC where you play as the elephant.
You can ride the elephant.
Well, I want to be the elephant.
Like that GTA mod where you can play as an
elephant's
elephant.
eyes.
Yeah. Oh man, come on!
Yeah. It's
Poor
so
elephant.
What even happens to his head?
No, he's in trouble.
Yeah,
that
that's
elephant.
The elephant probably didn't make it.
Or he's
liberated the shit out of that
Elephant
fortress.
not liberated.
Yeah.
No.
Unless he was in sort of some life jail.
Colin, I know you liked Far Cry 3.
Oh, Far Cry 3 is a special game. Yeah, I'm excited about Far Cry 4. I would say that was probably my most anticipated AAA game. I'm going to hit you with a few games. Mike Aransky, no doubt, has the footage for all of them. You ready?
Yep.
The first one I'm excited for is Danganronpa 2.
Is that coming this year?
On PS Vita, yeah.
Do we have
Danganronpa? You hit me with the footage.
No.
Two Danganronpa games in 1 year?
Yeah, so they were released, as far as I understand, in Japan at the same time, like together, and so they split them up to release them here. The first one did extremely well. I think it surprised NIS by how well it did, and so they have this new one. And a new one was just announced in Japan, so hopefully that will come over here as well. Another one, I just saw it, I just played it, Natural Doctrine. Which is a PS3, PS4, yeah, another NIS game, PS3, PS4 Vita. It's a hardcore, ridiculously hardcore strategy RPG. It's like really, really, like the idea of it is it's supposed to break you basically. Like it's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be like
It's supposed to break you.
yeah, like they were saying, like, like on every map you're gonna die. Like if any of your characters die, it's over. So like
Really? Fire
like,
Blemish.
yeah, exactly. And then
You said blemish.
Fire Emblem Blemish.
another one is Velocity 2X, which is a sequel to Velocity Ultra on Vita. This is a Vita and PS4 game. This game is extraordinarily fun. I played it at E3. We gave it an award. Aransky, hit me with the footage. Nope.
Pick some weird games, man.
Yeah. and finally, Freedom Wars, which I think is probably the last AAA first-party Vita game we're ever going to see. It's played that behind closed doors at E3. Really, really excited about it.
What type of game?
It's kind of like Soul Sacrifice, so kind of like a Monster Hunter-ish kind of game. But you have swords and guns. It's vertical. You use you shoot things to go to different platforms and everything. It's very action-oriented. And I love the idea of the game. It's about how the Earth is overpopulated, so the most minor of grievances and crimes give you massive prison sentences, so they can just put you away and get rid of you. So you have you start the game with a 1,000,000-year prison sentence for some minor crime, and you do tasks for the government to cut your time down, and the goal of the game is to get down to 0 years. And cool. it's kind of a fresh idea. It seemed really cool. Played it with the devs, actually, the Japanese guys that worked on it, Studio Japan. Collaborated with some studios over there, so really excited about that game. But I would say Far Cry is probably the one, out of all of them, I'm probably most excited about. I feel like I'm going to lose a lot of time to that game. But those will be nice little, those all kind of come out, 1 month and then the next month and then the next month, so those will keep me busy. Yeah.
Far Cry might be my most anticipated game, too. I'm also excited for Assassin's Creed Unity. Mm-hmm. That one looks really fun. I loved Black Flag. As long as they don't mess it up somehow like they did with AC3, I'll totally play this one.
See, he's got footage of that.
Yep.
He doesn't have footage of Danganronpa 2, but he has footage of Assassin's Creed.
I want to solve the murder mysteries.
Yeah.
You walk by and someone was killed in here. I need to figure out.
It does look fantastic, but every Assassin's Creed looks fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. Really good.
The improvements they made, it's not super flashy bullet points that you put on the back of the box, but it seems like they sort of fixed the parkour and fixed the stealth, ways, sort of fundamental improvements to the franchise that I love Far Cry or AC4 too, but the franchise definitely needed someone to sort of hit the reset button on it a little bit.
And I've also been surprised with how cool Shadow of Mordor looks.
Yeah.
It's the old Lord of the Rings games were mindless hack and slash games, right? And there's several levels of depth to this game.
That's the game that, did you play it at E3?
I was on the live show.
It was on live show, because I didn't attend E3, and everyone came home and was talking about that game. And I'm like, man, how good must it have shown at E3 to, not that people are down on it before, but that's another one like Destiny that you flipped a switch and everyone seems to be super jazzed about it now.
Yeah, that one looks really cool. That's coming out in October when all the games are.
October's
pretty densely packed.
October is insane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts. That's why I'm actually glad that Destiny, I felt like Destiny, the July beta was early, but it's totally not. That game comes out in September. It's the earliest. It sort of kicks things off.
A couple of months away now.
Yeah, it'll probably be, by the time the beta rolls out, that game will probably be gold.
Yeah.
At that point, then they'll just patch it. So.
All right, that's just a few games that we're looking forward to in 2014. I think that's all the scoops we have for you this week. Next week is a bye week. No game scoop. It's a holiday week, and I'm actually going to be on vacation. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. But thank you, Justin. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com. My name is Damon. This is IGN Game Scoop, and we're out.